Hey everybody, and welcome to Stock Abilities. I'm going to be covering the Robinhood IPO and just a little bit about the history of the company and what I think for the future for it. So make sure to watch through the whole video to get the whole input on my input for this particular company. They IPO'd as of July 29th, and basically they crumbled right into the open with a big drop. They attempted to recover only to fall right back down. A lot of people are pretty bearish about it, but you have to remember that this is a relatively large company trading at a very low price. And although it's at 10.5 times forward EBITDA, there's a lot of companies that trade well over that, including companies such as Tesla, among a plethora of other companies. So trying to value Robinhood can be subjective. You also have to remember that they're going through a lot of different lawsuits and things like that. But before I go into too many details here, Robinhood is basically a trading platform. It's trying to be innovative for retail investors, and in some degrees, it had opened a kind of a gateway and helped reduce other brokers' fees. But now that a lot of other brokers are offering equivalent free shares, Robinhood gets kind of put back into the dust. Its unique aspects that it spun from its initial inception are really just not that great anymore. There is tons of brokers that you can utilize, including TD Ameritrade, including Fidelity, and all these other ones that have either significantly reduced fees or pretty much free to trade with. So Robinhood just doesn't have that edge anymore. As you can see through the first day of trading here, had a pretty much a flat open and then just kind of fell and fell and fell. Took a very sharp dip, hit a short sale restriction point and bounced. Tried to recover, and then selling pressure came in again into the day here. We might see some continuation down potentially, but I feel the projections for Robinhood are actually going to be going up in the long term. Well, not long term, I'd say short term swing. They have a lot of debt to pay, and utilizing the Robinhood IPO aspect, they're going to try to squeeze out as much profits as possible. They're probably waiting until the option chains come around there so that they can kind of pump up that value there and squeeze a lot more monies out of the company. On a long-term basis, I don't think that Robinhood's going to get delisted or anything like that. I don't think it's going to go to next to nothing in value. There is a lot of money tied to this. This isn't some small little company anymore. It's relatively comparative to other major brokers. It is still kind of small, but I think you get the point here. There are a lot of lawsuits. The more lawsuits means the more monies that need to be paid back, which equates to essentially the more they have to more or less pump this particular ticker. And by pump, I don't mean fraudulently or anything like that. I mean that they have to build market cap value. They have to build incentive to kind of keep growing at the rate they're growing and cover their legal fees as well. So generally when companies IPO, their intent is to raise funds. Robinhood is desperately in need of those funds. They're burning through a lot of capital from their initial investors, and those investors want to be paid off too. So there's going to be a lot of hype and a lot of excitement and association with Robinhood into the near future, at least. So at least for the next couple months, I'm pretty bullish on it. I'm looking at calls on it. That's just my personal opinion. That's relative to you guys, what you want to do with that, but you have to remember that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and essentially, as Robinhood claims, they've had 80 billion in customer assets that they deal with. That's a significant amount of money flow, and you got all these other investors tied to it from the get-go there from a while back. And essentially, I'm going to skip over that one. That was outages that they got some lawsuits on. And then, of course, you got more and more lawsuits. It's a lot of compounding, but at the same time, comparative to what they're making, the lawsuits almost become meaningless because they're going to far outweigh that in growth. Now, this is just them in the U.S. markets. When they start expanding to UK, Canada, and so on and so forth, if they're able to, they're going to grow their capital size even more, and they're going to expand even more rapidly. A lot of people still want to use Robinhood, but a lot of them don't realize that it's still mostly restricted to just the United States. I don't think that's updated in 2021. I could be wrong on that. Just bringing that up. their estimated value, 33 billion. They didn't quite get what they wanted, but they did have, they cashed out a little bit. They're still opening with a fairly reasonable stock price there on that aspect. They did settle some lawsuits from some other people, so there's a lot of negativity associated with the company, but the more that they push the negativity, the more likely that the stock is going to end up going up and going up a lot. It seems that they're trying to aggressively go after Robinhood for whatever the particular reason, and that usually results in a more parabolic move on the upside. Starting on the first day of the IPO and with short sale restriction, they're already restricting shorts pretty heavily, so even into tomorrow we might see some strong bullish movement. Robinhood isn't exactly, not just a free broker completely. They're still making fees. They're still making fees on, order flow, market orders, and kind of cutting the middleman out there in regards, if you're doing market orders, can be very dangerous. A little bit more into detail in that you can look up just surfing around online, but it's a bit sketch, and a lot of brokers do this. This isn't just a Robinhood thing like a lot of people claim. Then you got the Robinhood Gold, which is essentially borrowing margin, but you got to pay a monthly fee, so they have a membership base there too. A lot of people seem to overlook this or seem to forget about this, and depending on the level of margin can affect the amount of fees. And then of course they collect up monies on some margin related aspects as well, depending on what you're trading and how you are trading that. So from a future perspective for Robinhood, there is promise. It's a mixed bag. There's a lot of value to be made in a unique or more retail focused broker comparative to the bigger guys there. So there's market share to be made. Whether this is going to go $100 a share, $200 a share, I don't think so. I think it's going to end up being more of a stagnant move, maybe a little bit of a sharp up to kind of cash out, cover some of their debts, and then kind of flatline. Long term, I'm not really expecting a whole lot of growth on it, but I guess we'll see how it shakes out. For at least a year of 2021, I am pretty bullish on the company. If you want more videos about Robinhood, if you want more videos about the Robinhood IPO and things like that, make sure to check out the channel. I have some other videos where I talked about Robinhood in the past. Not a very positive light on the broker. I personally used to use it a long time ago, and I've had mixed results. Not only did they drop their customer service, but a lot of other things that ended up being quite a big issue for me, including customer service emails that I sent that lasted up to 6 months, which is ridiculous for a broker. So there's a lot of kinks they still need to work out. I get comparative to the other brokers, they're still relatively small, but you would think the smaller it is, the more easily they'd be able to handle that. I think a lot of the problem that they had is that they grew just too fast from a retail investment point of view. But that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you for listening in. I'll be doing some other videos upcoming here, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're still listening through this whole video, I am very surprised. So have a great day, guys, and see you later on.